What is happening, TwT fans? It is so good to be back on this July 16th, 2026. It's time for another Talking with Topher. This is episode 328. And before I get into anything today, let me start off the way I always do by saying thank you. Thank you to all of my subscribers out there. You're the ones keeping me coming back week after week. If you're new, checking it out, popping by, remember to subscribe, all right? Hit that subscribe button. Leave a thumbs up for the video. And, of course, set those alarms so that you know when every episode is uploaded. Do you want to be a guest on a podcast? Maybe there's a story that needs to be heard, or maybe you have a story that needs to be told. Either way, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com is the official email of the podcast. Send an audio, video, or type it out. Linktree link is in the description below the video. It's where you can find everything TWT. It's just that easy. And of course, all the links discussed in this podcast today are located in the description below for you to go and do your own research. And now, with all the housekeeping out of the way, let's get into the episode. What is happening, everybody? I want to start off with this today. All right. So, giving up our worldly possessions takes away their power and unshackles us from their control. That's why we're supposed to give up our possessions. I have been digging into my religion, okay? And my religion is believing in Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is almighty. He's going to set us free. And I think I finally understand what he meant about getting rid of your worldly possessions. I do not believe it means giving up everything and living in a cave, okay, with no electricity, no this, no that, no anything. I don't believe that. What I do believe is that we have gotten to a point in our lives where our worldly possessions mean more than the people we love. And if that happens to hold true for you, I think it's time for you to take a look at your worldly possessions, take a look at the people around you, and are they the people that you should be surrounding yourself with, or are they just people there because of your worldly possessions? When we look at it in those sets of eyes, through that lens, I believe it becomes more true that the worldly possessions mean nothing. And if we allow them to mean something, that's where their control can take hold. So I believe deep down inside that it's not about having nothing and giving yourself to God. It's about giving yourself to God and realizing that all of these things mean nothing, and the love that you have from everybody around you and how you care for one another is the greatest possession you can have. So don't make something more powerful than that. And the only reason I say is that I say all of this in this way is because we live in a world where we need these things to, I guess, somewhat survive. But at the end of the day, we don't want to make them worth more than our loved ones and the people that surround us. That's I think that for me helps me. I mean, still, it's weird too, because when something breaks, it's the end of the world, but I just thought that was a way to look at that, so that maybe more people will be a little bit they'll be able to see that you don't have to give everything up, because then you're like, you're exiling yourself from the world. You don't have to do that, but when you put material things above people, that's where I believe they can start to take control of you, right? Because those things mean more than anything, which is not the way it should be. I also want everybody to know that I still don't stand with Israel. Israel is not an ally, okay, everybody? They are the worst. And I'm going to start everything off with this opening clip here. We're going to dive in deep and quick today.
Time to get biblical. I'm sure you're all under the impression that the modern state of Israel is somehow connected to the Israel from the Bible. It's not. Israel, also known as Jacob, was a man, not a land and not a country. He had descendants that were known as the children of Israel or the Israelites. However, an overwhelming majority of modern-day Israelis have absolutely no ancestral connection to the Middle East or the ancient Israelites of the Bible. They are Ashkenazi Jews of European descent who can trace their ancestry back to Khazaria, what is now modern-day Ukraine. These people claim to be Jews, but are not. They are actually the synagogue of Satan, as stated in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9. So if you're going to use the Bible to justify the existence of the state of Israel and to justify their genocide of the Palestinian people and other atrocities against the world, then I will use the Bible to prove the modern state of Israel is a satanic forgery created by the United Nations after the Zionist bankers started, financed, and manipulated the entire world into 2 world wars, which resulted in the deaths of millions of people, mostly non-Jews. The Rothschild family, who bankrolled the creation of the State of Israel, financed both sides of both world wars to serve their own Zionist agenda. The Bible refers to these people as children of the devil and the synagogue of Satan. You were probably under the impression that the flag of Israel displays the Star of David. In my hand is a King James Bible, and nowhere in this Bible can the phrase Star of David be found. It's not biblical. The fact is, David never had a star.
Think about all of the things that are happening today. It blows my mind, right? So they're behind both wars. They funded everything. Again, the narrative is the Nazis killed the Jews. Do you want to know what I've been digging into and trying to get to the bottom of? And I know it's very difficult because of the very simple fact that the history has been forged, the lies have been told, and therefore it is very difficult to find the actual truth. But what I have come to realize is that no matter where you look, you find numbers that are very concerning, okay? Listen to this. In 1933, 682,400,000 Christians. There were 15,315,000 Jews. So in 1948, there was 592,400,000 Christians. 90 million of them were killed. There were 15,753,000 Jews. That's 438,000 more Jews. But yet the Jews are the ones saying that they were a victim of genocide. So look up the years of the wars, and then look up the one section that I keep looking into that nobody really depicts out there. And it's not being talked about. But the amount of Christians that have been killed over 100 years is insane. And I've talked about this a few times now, but why? Why are they being targeted? Why are they being attacked? Well, because we believe in Jesus and we don't believe in Satan. And you can't tell me anymore that a symbol that meant love, unity, the swastika, which used to represent something positive, and now it represents something negative because you're telling me it's negative and negative things happened, but yet you don't elaborate on all of the details showing that more Christians died than Jewish people. And if anything, the numbers just don't add up. But why were those numbers for the Christians suppressed? Well, probably the same reason they turned a swastika that meant so many positive things over hundreds of years into a negative symbol, painted a negative picture, and then turned a magical symbol into something that it's not. A symbol of magic is not a symbol of peace. And it never existed. It's all fake. So if they never had the Star of David, and if the Star of David is a magical symbol that represents the devil and Satan, and you're trying to tell me it's a positive thing, but yet the symbol that actually meant positivity, love, and unity, you paint it as a negative symbol, well, this is where I'm going to start, everybody. If they're telling you one thing, you got to go the opposite way. This is the lie. Over here is the truth. And through Jesus Christ, you will see and understand the truth. I believe this to be very true, and I believe that what they're doing is just a 180 of what we should be doing. I think that's the best way I can describe it. But this blows my mind that these people, these allies of ours, are supposed to be so great, and they're just great people, right? They're just great people. Well, this is what Netanyahu actually thinks of us.
Netanyahu just called America Rome.
But the new Rome, the United States, views itself as a new Jerusalem.
Then off stage, he said something else.
We want to
What are you reading right now is what he's being asked.
know what you're reading now.
It's called the Jews against Rome.
Same word, different room.
What made you pick it up?
Well, we lost that one. I think we have to win the next one.
He just admitted America is his enemy.
What? I mean, come on, man. It doesn't get any more clear than that. Well, they're Rome. They want to be the new Jerusalem. No, I'm reading, the book, Jews versus Rome. Well, you just called us Rome. Yeah, well, we lost the first one. We got to win this one. So you've been setting us up to fail since the beginning. It sounds to me like we are friends with our enemy, not an ally. And all the Zionism, all the Zionists, Netanyahu, they want to destroy America and what it is. And man, it is very disgusting to see. And we're going to see a lot of this today. But look it. If they are telling you something, it's always the opposite. Is it not? Wild that, it's just wild to me that these people are just trying to pull the wool over our eyes over and over and over again. And it's showing so much. So real quick before I go any further, I wanted to just come up. I have a idea, and I don't know if it works for anybody, but what I'm thinking is that, the housing bill got stalled, right? Because Trump wants to put in his voting bill. I'll call it. I don't remember the actual name of it. So I was thinking, is there a way for us to all be able to vote and prove that we're voters, and a way for everybody to get a fair way to vote? And I came up with this. You let me know if I'm crazy. But what I'm thinking is that I don't think it should be based off of a driver's license. Okay. I don't think it should be based off of a non-driver ID. I think we need to take the DMV out of it. I think that just needs to be taken out. And just roll with me here. You don't need an actual ID to have this happen. I think we need to have a proof of residence. Okay? I think a proof of residence would be more beneficial. So not just a piece of mail, but like an actual bill, right? Because if you're getting billed to that address, then you probably live at that address. I'm going to go out on a limb here. So what I'm thinking is that you would go to where you vote, right? Let's just say it's the first time. You walk in, you get in the line, you wind up at the table, sees my last name. Okay. Well, this is it? Yeah, you live here? Yes. Do you have proof of residency? Yes, I have a water bill and I have an electric bill. I don't know. Just pick those two because they're the two that actually tie, the closest. You can have like a Netflix or whatever, you know what I mean? But if you're getting like water bills and electric bills, those are pretty solidifying documents that prove the address and where you live. So now they go, okay, great. We'll print you your voter ID. And they print the voter ID and they hand it to you. Now your voter ID is good for, I don't care if you put time on it or no time on it. It's good until you move. Yeah, let's say that. It's good until you move. So if you move out of your district, you're going to have to redo the thing again, right? Okay. I think that would be relatively simplistic, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't sound that difficult in my head. So then my second part is now voting is a national holiday. Everybody gets the day off. Everybody. Now, everybody is going to get the chance to vote. So I think that would fix it. I don't know. Probably a lot of you would disagree or argue, or you think Trump's idea is a good idea. I personally think that the housing bill was a good idea. So that getting stalled out is very unfortunate for a lot of us. But without this Saving America bill or whatever the fuck he called it, going through, he has now stalled that. But I don't know. You tell me. You walk in to go vote, you show proof of residence, they print a voter ID, which is good until you move, and you get to vote because why? You got the day off the way it should be. Within that, unless you are completely and absolutely incapable of leaving your house, then you wouldn't have to do a mail-in ballot. And then those people could still do a mail-in ballot, but you're going to get it a month early and you have to send it out before the date. So that means you get it a month early. You got 3 weeks to make a vote. It shouldn't take more than 5 to 7 business days to get it back in. So it should be there on the date of arrival. Now, on that, it should say mail back by. No exceptions. Big, bold, red lettering. I think at that point, everybody would be satisfied and everybody would finally get a chance to vote. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. That's what I was thinking. Let's check this guy out.
Hitler helped Jews move to Palestine. It's called the Havana Agreement, a deal signed between top Nazi officials and the Zionist Federation of Germany in the early 30s, and it helped between 50 and 60,000 Jews move to what is now the modern-day state of Israel. However, there was a caveat. Only wealthy Jews could afford to emigrate. I think that's interesting because we learn a lot about the Holocaust in American schools, but I never learned about the Havana Agreement. I thought Hitler wanted all the Jews out of Germany. So why would he only want the wealthy ones to go and the poor ones to stay to get killed?
He wouldn't. He wouldn't. He wasn't doing that. He was getting rid of the Zionists. He was getting rid of the billionaires, the rich people, the people that were trying to control everything. And this is something that's never talked about. Have you heard of the Havana Agreement? Man, look it up. Wild information in there. It's very interesting. Have you listened to the speeches in your own language and understanding the words that were coming out of that man's mouth? Have you looked at the swastika for what it was instead of what it was turned into? These are the things that you need to be looking at today, everybody, because these are the lies. So we got an IDF soldier, veteran, that is literally exposing Israel for what they are doing. I told you, they are not our allies. They are not our friends. They are literally our enemies. They are trying to destroy us. They are trying to destroy Christianity, and they are trying to destroy our faith in God. And what they are doing is, well, I think it's kind of working because it's gotten pretty dark. But to hear this was something. It was something, everybody. Listen to this.
Defense Force veteran just exposed Israel. Look.
Ooh, who do you think Jeffrey Epstein worked for?
Israel?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Bro, he's a Jewish. He's Jewish.
Yep.
And he's Jewish. He works for the Mossad.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep. I agree.
And literally, that's it. They are literally knowing for blackmailing people to do what they want, and like I'm not like they can get. I can't get arrested for that because it's literally like a fact. Do you watch Candace Owens?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen her before. Yeah.
That's it. That's what you need to know. Like, bro, I'm Israeli. I live in Israel. I know what's going on. Just watch her. Everything, literally everything, bro. I swear to God, like I swear, my nephews and like nieces, as a Jewish who's living in Israel, everything she's saying is true about Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, Epstein, Israel, literally everything. She is so fucking right, and I hate when people like treat her like such a maniac or. She's not, bro. She was pro-Israeli. Actually, she was.
And he's right. And there were a lot of people that were pro-Israel. I mean, Charlie Kirk was pro-Israel until he wasn't, until he disappeared, even though we all know what happened to him. But this is happening over and over and over again, man. These people are starting to speak out. I think Iran is dropping some really hot information right now that I have some of it. And I'm very excited for it because if this is how they're going to weaponize themselves, I say go for it. Release all the information that you have. Start divulging the information because I do believe that IDF veteran who is putting Candace Owens in this position to be 100% right, I've already felt that way. I mean, you know what I mean? Well, your algorithm's just reassuring your, and it's probably true, but at the end of the day, man, this stuff is mind-blowing because Israel's behind everything. Our government and Israel are behind 9/11. There was no planes. How many things can we go back on? And it's like you can go all the way back to World War I. Funded on both sides by the same people. The only thing that really came out of that was a ton of death. Because they didn't really care what side won. They didn't care. They don't care. They just need to keep the number where they need to keep the number. And I've heard a few people talk about this, where every time we get to a certain population, world population, all of a sudden there's a ton of war and a ton of death. And it depletes that world number again. And I don't know of the number that we're not allowed to get past, but I found that fact or that information to be very interesting to hear, because now I want to look into when the population was reaching, I guess, its maximum amount of people. Because if there is a number that they want to stick to, well, I guess it would just be a simple way of, looking through a decade at a time. And what was the population? What was the population? What was the population? And maybe we can find the fluctuation of the populations, because, man, if war is actually being designed to keep the world population at a specific number so it doesn't go past what they think is, I don't know if it's uncontrollable, maybe uncontrollable for them, but they just think that if we get over this amount of people, that the world will suffer and it won't be able to sustain us. And I don't find that to be true at all. I think there's plenty of land, there's plenty of resources. They lie about the amount of resources we have. They lie about everything. But, man, when you hear an IDF veteran say that it's all Israel, Epstein worked for Israel, it really does make you go, what else have they evolved in? What is the number of the population of the world that we're not allowed to go over? And what was the population before World War I? What was the population before World War II? After, before, and then here, this war, Iran, Iraq. I mean, just start population before, population after, population before, population after, and we should see a pattern, should we not? I don't know when I'm going to get time to do this, but I think I'm going to share this information with everybody else and see if we can collectively dig into it and see if we can actually find the pattern, because I do believe that population control for the world is controlled by war. I do. But Israel is not our ally, everybody. They're not. HAARP is no longer a conspiracy, everybody. It's real. I knew it was real. And could it have anything to do with Venezuela's last earthquake? I'm not sure, but this is coming from Iran, everybody. And this is how they're fighting, well, us, in a way, right? But I think they know that the population is so unhappy with the president that they know that this stuff is going to make its way around. But they have, just release everything, please. Release everything. I'm telling you. But this is another thing that they told us that they couldn't do, that we're physically seeing it all happen. And they just keep denying. But here it is. Look at this. We've all seen these clouds. I mean, did you see the ripples going through that cloud, the scene before this one? This is not natural, everybody. This is not natural. This should not be happening. This is not what happens. They claim it's natural, of course. These are not natural occurrences.
Each of these trailers you see around me
clouds.
have
Listen.
transmitters in them. The transmitters feed power from the main building over there up into these dipole antennas. And basically, there are 180 antennas radiating high frequency waves up in the ionosphere. It's a big ham radio, a big HF radio, the biggest in the world. Fundamentally, what this is about is taking the ionosphere at 100 kilometers up and turning it into a laboratory. We can do experiments. We can create bubbles. We can heat small sections. We can create waves. We can excite plasma resonances and do a lot of experiments. We can transmit signals all around the world. We can study effects of the ionosphere. It basically makes the ionosphere a laboratory, and we can do experiments that no one else can do.
But did you see that? That giant platform in the middle of some woods. I mean, HAARP is real. HAARP can do so much. And they just can't hide this from us anymore. I mean, you look at that thing and you're like, this is just crazy. What do we have this for? And where is it coming from? And you're like, Iran's releasing all this, right? And they've got more stuff. I'm hoping they release the Epstein files. I think I've said this before. Hey, wipe out the citizens' debt. That would be great. I mean, it would be terrible. Don't do that. Please do that. But also, when you start looking at these radio waves and earthquakes, and I mean, it's just so many things right now that just seem out of control. And I've said that I think that they broke the internet. I mean, I think they broke the weather. So, that HAARP facility, there's got to be more of them, right? Well, look at this one. The world's largest HAARP machine is located in the U.S. with geoengineering. Climates can be easily altered. The Middle East has proven its reality. Europe is still under the influence of this machine. So what this is saying is that Iran is releasing this information that they have gathered and been holding on to, and they are utilizing this machine right now to do what is happening to Europe. I'm not going to say that they're wrong, but I have heard that Europe is saying that it's our fault for using ACs, that they are in the heat now. Look, man, again, they want us attacking each other, everybody. It's just the divide. We can't allow that to happen. Our ACs, our cars, our everything that we've been provided is not the problem. They are. They're the ones spraying the skies. They're the ones sending out vibrations. They're the one creating clouds. They're the ones creating rain. They're the ones that have been manipulating the weather for decades. And now it's broken. And I think they might have gone too far, and maybe they're trying to backtrack it. But Iran, keep this information coming because it's great. Check this HAARP machine out, everybody. It is wild. So he's zooming in here, and I don't know where the location is in the United States. It doesn't really dive into the actual location, look at this thing. Remember the last one I showed you? It was like a field, and all the HAARP antennas, were laid out on the field. This is built like a wall, like a giant wall with nothing but radio antennas all over it, and it looks like it stretches. I don't know. It's probably at least 15 miles wide. I mean, it is absolutely massive. And I don't know about you, but right now, I believe the information coming from Iran. That might sound crazy, but what real reason do they have to lie right now? Right? Do they have any reason to lie to us and make us think that our government is not doing what it said it's doing, and it's doing exactly what we thought it was doing? I mean, are they not stealing our tax dollars? Are they not pardoning criminals? Are they not involved in criminal activities themselves? I mean, did you see the thing where Trump's talking about all the money invested and how he deals with a company that he doesn't talk to and he doesn't associate with, and I just give him money and then they invest it for me, so I don't talk to those people? Well, hey, bud, the two guys, your sons, right behind you, are the ones that deal with your money. So, I don't know. Turn around and talk to them, right? Don't make it sound like you've been making all this money this entire time with money that you had before you were president. The facts and the numbers is that everybody who invested in your cryptocurrency, you made millions of dollars and all your investors lost millions of dollars. That to me is a Ponzi scheme, and you stole from your investors. Again, if you look at certain things that he is invested in and you look at the people that invested, he wins and they lose. And we're talking losses of $550, I think it was $1 million, and he bankrolled $517 million. That was just one of them. It's all on Breaking Points. They have way more information than I do. It's absolute theft. So, again, am I not going to believe Iran when they release information like this? No, I'm going to gobble it up and spit it out, man. I believe it's more truthful than anything our government's been telling us. Because they said they were going to find the fraud. They said they were going to give it back to the American people. All they did was find the fraud and keep it for themselves and fraud even more. That's all they've been doing, is stealing and lying to us. So, therefore, I mean, one, HAARP is 100% real. It is a weapon, and they will use it on all of us. Cannot tell me that the most massive earthquake Venezuela has ever had just happened, right? Because everything just keeps getting worse. It's more intense. I wonder why. Now, everybody has heard about the zombie thing, right? And how vaccinated people possibly could be taken over by a signal. Well, if we can utilize HAARP to change and manipulate weather and cause earthquakes and stuff like that, then would it be that difficult to think that there would be a possible way to create mind control and to have mind control in a position today that's even more capable of turning on something within inside of us? And the reason I bring this up is because I don't know if you guys watch the news or see what's going on. MK Ultra is 100% real, okay? There are people in Congress. It was an hour and 27-minute podcast or taping of this discussion on MK Ultra and people's concerns about an MK Ultra 2.0 that could be unleashed on the public today. Now, we've talked about the zombie virus, right? And we've talked about how the mind control and the mRNA vaccinations could potentially be a trigger response to, let's just say, radio waves or 6G signals that are released upon us. Well, why would they be bringing this up in Congress and having an hour and 27-minute conversation if it wasn't real? Well, I also think that because of all of this going on and these doors being open and MK Ultra being recognized as a real situation, that, yeah, there is a possibility of mind control. And then maybe mRNA has something to do with it. And yes, maybe you're going to get turned into a zombie. I'm going to expand on that in a second. Let's check this out. So you can see. Okay, so there is a little bit of chatter in the background. That howling you're hearing is coming from that person. Coming from that person, everybody.
Y'all, I don't know what's going on in this specific video in Tennessee, but people are saying it's evidence that there is, in fact, a zombie outbreak going on. I know it's hard to buy that people are saying there's zombie outbreaks on the internet. It happens. There's phases, I swear, that it goes through. But now I'm hearing rumors about a Walmart where a customer bit another customer. They lock down the Walmart, take the other customer that was bitten to the hospital, and they said by the time she had gotten to the hospital, she changed.
Changed?
Whether it's like Left 4 Dead and it's like some rabies virus or it really is a zombie virus, the videos online are very interesting. After that video in Tennessee, I'm going to show a video where a gentleman seems to be eating a raw squirrel. Can't make this stuff up, folks. Let me know what you guys think. Is it really happening?
It's very, very worrying. I'm going to shut the sound off, but man, if you're watching this video, it does. I mean, this is unnatural. I have never seen a drug that does this to somebody. This is very peculiar behavior. And I mean, how is it that, well, that's because, well, all right, I guess I answered my own question. But if you're watching this, I'll kind of go through my brain with you. How do they know what a zombie acts and looks like? Because they already know what a zombie and looks like. They already know. All the zombie movies are real. Aliens are going to be deemed demons. Wait till that fucking explodes on you. It's going to be amazing. I already called it, but yeah. When that breaks, man, I will believe that this zombie thing could be triggered by the mRNA vaccinations. And you know, how many people out there have been shot up once, twice, boosted up? From what I've read, initial COVID vaccination, 6 million in the beginning. 6 million people. Now, out of those 6 million, how many are still here, right? Out of that 6 million, how many people did what I did and tried to clean themselves? And out of that 6 million, how many of them went back time and time and time again? Booster after booster. How many people out of that 6 million still wearing masks, staying home and just acting like the world will never, that the world ended, right? They're still not doing life because they've been so convinced. So out of that 6 million, if the COVID vaccination has anything to do with the zombie virus and the 6G towers have anything to do with about activating it, how many people is that? Because I will tell you right now, it's not a small amount. But if I was to see that, not going to ask that person how he's doing, I'm going to keep moving. Because I will tell you right now, that thing starts running behind me saying brains, I'm out. Now, the deadliest flu outbreak. Now, I've talked about how I believe, right, diseases themselves, almost 100% designed and manipulated by man, distributed by man to depopularize. Now, maybe not the very first plague that happens, right? Not the very first one. But that plague then gets captured by man. And they manipulate it. So now it's manipulated. But no, this is the same thing. It's just a different version. It just mutated. Yeah. Well, did COVID mutate because of the vaccine? They say it did. They say that if we had just done herd immunity and just all gotten sick and just dealt with the outcome, that it would have only been one strain of COVID. But because of all the vaccinations and all the different people, it changed. It changed and it changed and it changed and it changed. But you could also say that the vaccination was holding that changed COVID strain, because it was never meant to keep you from getting sick, and it was never meant to keep you from spreading it. If anything, it was designed to make you sick and to cause the spread and the mutation of it, which is exactly what happened after the vaccines came out. So this, I thought, was wild, because I'm telling you, man, viruses, all of the sicknesses and the illnesses and the vaccines and all your medications and the psych meds and all of it, it's just designed to keep us constantly and terribly sick. The deadliest flu outbreak in history started in 1918 after radio waves were first introduced. What? So there it is. Oh, man. I'm telling you right now, they have figured out a way to manipulate us. And maybe they got some of the keys from the past. I don't know. But you're going to sit here and tell me that there is no correlation between what's going on today, vaccinations and 6G towers and the zombie virus, and back then, it was whatever they were using. They could have slipped it into some type of vaccine. There was not as many vaccinations back then because they didn't need all the vaccinations that they tell us that we need today, which we don't. But interesting how radio and this influenza coincide. So let's just give a little bit more of a listen.
I make the case in the book that the Spanish influenza epidemic was caused by the sudden change in the Earth's electromagnetic environment by the worldwide use of radio for the first time.
How close were they related time-wise, the Spanish influenza epidemic and the implementing of radio technology?
Extremely close. The Spanish influenza began in American bases in this country where soldiers were trained in the use of radio waves. And the installation of the most powerful alternator, 50,000 watt alternator in New Jersey by the United States for use in communicating overseas occurred in September of 2018, which is exactly when the Spanish influenza epidemic became so deadly.
That is not a coincidence, everybody. It's not. So, was radio actually put in place to manipulate and change viruses to become more aggressive? Would you really put it past them today? Out of all the things that we have been lied to, lied about, all the things that we're finding out are horrifically true with the Epstein files, the way that they treat the children but tell you, be good to them. They are our future. But yet they torture them, eat them, and they lie about so much all the time, right? So while they're telling you, be good, they're being evil. When they're saying don't thieve, don't steal, they're thieving and stealing. So why would I ever believe that they wouldn't use radio waves to increase viruses and cause more death? Where this was happening is right where those alternators were. These people basically put themselves in front of a nuclear reactor and stood there without any protection and just caught radiation. You know what I mean? But it wouldn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me that a flu, like the Spanish flu, was actually manipulated and probably brought on by radio waves. Because you know for a fact that whatever flu was before that, that's how they were capable of manipulating it, right? They were capable of manipulating it because they were capable of getting their hands on it and manipulating it to be manipulatable themselves. Well, that kind of goes with everything today, does it not? I mean, look at this timeline. You don't think we've been lied to about our timeline? I think we've been lied to by our timeline. Now, I have no proof of this. A lot of this stuff makes a lot more sense to me. But when you look at this timeline, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense to me. And I'm sorry. They lied to about us about our calendar. April 1st is the start of the new year. Christmas is fucking fake. It's not Jesus' birthday. Has nothing to do with Jesus. It was actually outlawed. So that's not real. They added months. They added days. They changed weeks. They've lied to us about dinosaurs. They've lied to us about aliens. They've lied to us about everything that we know. And I'm just curious about this timeline. Because what if it's not 2026 and it is year 1300. Because we got some pretty big gaps. And let's face it, they have lied to us about everything. So again, they're telling me it's 2026. But there's a lot of information missing. And I don't think that the time lines up. Right? And one last example I'll give is the Mayan calendar that ended. If you go back to the original calendar, it doesn't end until next year. So all I'm saying is that we've been lied to over and over and over again. So why would I not listen to somebody talking about a timeline that possibly doesn't exist because of their lies? And their lies have us on a different timeline. It's just, I don't know, man. It's interesting to me.
What if it's not actually the year 2026, but something closer to the year 1300? There's a theory known as the phantom time hypothesis. The idea that centuries of history may have been artificially added to the timeline. And some people believe the biggest clue is the so-called Dark Ages. Nearly 1,000 years where history claims human civilization barely advanced, very little innovation, very little progress, almost like time itself was filled in afterward. And then there's Tartaria. Massive stone buildings appearing across the world with impossible architecture, perfect symmetry, and construction methods that still do not fully make sense today. Some theorists believe these structures were not built in the distant past, but much more recently than we've been told. And some versions of the theory go even deeper. They claim the millennial reign of Christ already happened, and that history was rewritten afterward, because if Satan had been bound for 1,000 years, what would those years be called from his perspective? The Dark Ages, an era later described as empty, primitive, and forgotten. Almost like an entire age was deliberately obscured, and according to the theory, entire dynasties, wars, rulers, and historical events may have been inserted into the timeline to hide what really happened. Now, whether any of this is true or not, what makes the theory so unsettling is that fake history has existed before. Empires erased records. Rulers rewrote events. Civilizations changed timelines. And if history can be rewritten once, how do we know it wasn't rewritten on a much larger scale?
And that's what I'm getting at there, is that how do we know it hasn't been changed or manipulated to fit their narrative? What if Tartaria, Tartaria, man, I think was the ultimate, right? I think it was where we were going. We were supposed to be there. Like, look at Russia, right? That was Tartaria. Excuse me. Look at the Great Wall of China. The way that the guns would be facing are the wrong way. I don't think China built that. I think Tartaria built that to keep everybody out of Tartaria because they were onto something and everybody else was trying to stop them. These buildings that were built are, they are beautiful, man. I'm not an architect. I'm not a person that's like, I want to go look at buildings. But when you look at the construction and you look at the design and you look at the intricacy and all of the details that go into these old buildings, where did it go? Where did it go? How do they do it? Because we can't replicate a goddamn thing. The only thing we keep doing is making more boxes. We make all kinds of boxes. We make everything smooth. We have no design, no accents, even when they do it today, it's nothing like what we've seen in these pictures. And the same thing keeps popping up. The pyramids, the Mayan temples, the Grand Canyon, the stuff that's hidden in there? How about the pillars underneath the pyramids that supposedly generated energy? What about Tartaria in the blimps transferring energy? The bells that were soothing and sounding, and the free energy because they understood ether and they understood how to get the energy from ether, which is an endless energy that you don't have to pay for. What if all of that is true and everything else that has been put into the timeline is just lies? And it was to create what we have today and to make what we have today make more sense. And when they explain all of this and they teach us in school all of this history, now we're all solidified in this reality that they have designed to hide reality from us from. Right? Our reality has been hidden from us. We are living in a giant lie, everybody. A giant, giant lie. And I'm sorry, you can't convince me any otherwise. I will at least maybe try to convince me any otherwise if you can, because I just don't believe that it's possible that we haven't been lied to. Now, here's something else, man. The voice of God has been created. Look, I don't know what to say about the AI and where we're going here, but if they want to control us, if they are trying to diminish us and get rid of our faith in Jesus and get rid of our faith in God and tear us down and make us these walking zombies and do all of these things to control us, then wouldn't it be one of the most important things that they're going to want to do once they tear us all down is they're going to give us the thing that we need to believe in. Right? And listen to this. This is by Realism Official. He's in this podcast a lot today. I love this guy's videos. Check it out.
Hopefully y'all are ready for this one. You know what this is? It's real. This is called the voice of God. It's a military weapon. Yeah, you heard that right. The voice of God. This is almost comical. Look at this. A long-range acoustic device that projects highly focused sound or speech directly at a target, making the sound appear to come from thin air or inside the target's head. Yeah, they've created technology to attack thoughts now. And of course, they're like, how can we think of the most blasphemous name for this weapon that shouldn't be made? This is why God says, take all of your thoughts captive, because not all of them could be your own. And in this scenario, it's quite literal. This has been around for a minute, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, they're not going to use it on us. They're only going to use it on military operations. You sure about that? Because I wouldn't be surprised if they're already using it on us.
And if they are already using it on us, maybe that's what was happening with that person at the bus stop. But also, think about the scientists. How many scientists said that they were hearing voices in their head? Right? The girl typing on the keyboard, her hands burning, voices in her head. Ah, you're crazy. That was a scientist that went crazy. Nope. I don't believe that one iota anymore. Why wouldn't they use this against us? Why wouldn't they be capable of isolating it instead of unleashing it across the population, right? Because they're like, well, let's, we did the mRNA across the nation and across the world. It didn't go quite exactly how we thought it was going to. It did pretty well. But this one, I think if we actually isolate it and use it on specific people right now, we might be able to see how much we can manipulate and or change them or control them and get a feel for how this is going to work. Right? I mean, maybe somebody was like, "Yeah, let's not like go crazy here this time, and let's kind of test it out in a sense." And so they started testing it out on scientists. All the scientists that were figuring out the propulsion, right? Breaking gravity and having propulsion. Those people have all disappeared. And some of them said that they were hearing voices. Now, I asked how many people have been vaccinated, boosted, and the whole nine, right? What if they went through the documents and they were like, "Hey, look at this. Billy, he's all boosted up. Let's see what it does to him." And Billy's the one sitting there at the bus stop, and now he's a zombie. It doesn't sound outside of the box anymore. It doesn't sound crazy to me, and I don't believe that the people that we were made out to think were crazy, hearing voices, were crazy, and they were hearing voices. That's what I think. So, the servant cannot be the master. Erase the state. Well, let's do it, man. I think erasing the state would be, I think we need to take back America, everybody.
For the opportunity to testify today, the following statement will attempt to answer the question of the legitimacy and the need of the citizen militia. Not only does the Constitution specifically allow the formation of a federal army, it also recognizes the inherent right of the people to form militia. Further, it recognizes that the citizen and his personal armament are the foundation of the militia. The arming of the militia is not left to the state, but to the citizen. However, should the state choose to arm its citizen militia, it is free to do so, bearing in mind that the Constitution is not a document limiting the citizen, but rather limiting the power of government. But should the state fail to arm its citizen militia, the right of the people to keep and bear arms becomes the source of the guarantee that the state will not be found defenseless in the presence of a threat to its security. It makes no sense whatsoever to look to the Constitution of the United States or that of any state for permission to form a citizen militia, since logically the power to permit is also the power to deny. If brought to its logical conclusion in this case, government may deny the citizen the right to form a militia. If this were to happen, the state would assert itself as the principal of the contract, making the people the agents. Liberty then would depend on the state's grant of liberty. Such a concept is foreign to American thought. While the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution recognizes the existence of the state militia and recognizes their necessity for securing a free state, and while it also recognizes that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, the Second Amendment is not the source of the right to form a militia nor to keep and bear arms. Those rights existed in the states prior to the formation of the federal union. In fact, the right to form militia and to keep and bear arms exists from antiquity. The enumeration of those rights in the Constitution only underscores their natural occurrence and importance. According to the 10th Amendment, ultimate power over the militia is not delegated to the federal government by the Constitution. Consequently, the power of the militia remains in the hands of the people. Again, the fundamental function of the militia in society remains with the people. Therefore, the Second Amendment recognizes that the militia's existence and the security of the state rests ultimately in the people, who volunteer their persons to constitute the militia and their arms to supply its firepower. The primary defense of the state rests with the citizen militia bearing its own arms. Fundamentally, it is not the state that defends the people, but the people who defend the state.
And we're going to stop it there. It goes on for another 2 minutes, everybody. Look, this is what I'm talking about. We, the people, have the control. We, the people, have been lied to and told we don't have the control. Our constitutional rights tell us that we have the right to rise up against our government. I'm not a militia positive person because, you know, They're helping border control. They're doing all kinds of stuff. There's different types of militias. I agree with standing up against a corrupt government that is trying to manipulate and or implement laws that take away our rights. I saw a video real quick. I digress. I saw a video of a wolf, right? They got the dog robots. Now they have a wolf robot. And guess what gun was on its back? An AR-15. Well, isn't that interesting how they want to ban those weapons from us, but they're going to put it on these AI-controlled wolves? I don't think so. We need to read our rights. You need to understand your rights. You need to understand your constitutional rights. We as Americans have rights. And I watch this guy, it's a New Jersey audit or something like that, a Long Island audit. And I think I brought this up a couple weeks ago. But the thing that really irritates me about all of the videos that he takes, and I'm not irritated with his videos at all. I think his videos show us truth. Every time he brings up his rights, all of a sudden the cops escalate. Why is it when cops or anybody that is in law enforcement, when there is a citizen that understands their rights and starts explaining their rights, these servants of the people get upset? You are supposed to be serving us. If I'm telling you I have rights and I can do this, then you're supposed to go, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, no, we don't follow policy. We follow law. And you as the citizen, I am your servant. You are correct. But it's the opposite. They think they have power over us because our government has given them power over us by taking away our rights. We need to get to know our rights, we need to understand our rights, and we need to take back our rights. We need to stop believing in their lies. And I don't know if we all need to start making our own militias or doing whatever, but I feel like knowing your rights, understanding your rights, and saying your rights to these people is the only weapon we have right now. All we have is our voice. And I mean, this is just insanity, man. We are in the middle of the most corrupt government ever. Ever. Literally stealing everything from us. And when they told us that they were going to find the theft and give it back to us, what did they do? They found the theft. They stopped all investigations. They pardoned all the bad people. And then they figured out how they could take all of that fraudulent, stolen money and just put it into their own pockets. That's why they're not investigating it. Because they're all part of it. So why would they want to investigate themselves? They wouldn't. So understand your rights and use it against them. They are servants to us. This is our America, not theirs. Our government is supposed to be working for us. We don't work, well, we do, but we're not supposed to be working for our government. And our law enforcement is supposed to be protecting our rights, everybody. And they don't. Well, you know how I've been finding Jesus. And it looks like in this video, somebody else found Jesus. Let's see how this turns out.
Okay, this isn't making sense to me. I don't understand. This guy goes from being in the LGBTQ community for 13 years to this. Pause. As you can see, the demons are freaking out because he's not gay anymore.
Jesus is your answer. Jesus is the truth, the way, the light. The Bible says that the King of Kings, the Bible says that we all fall short of the glory of God.
Those demons were like, bro, what are you doing? You were supposed to be on our side. What the heck? Ah, that's why they were freaking out. There's only one explanation for that. Say his name.
Jesus Christ.
Say his name.
Jesus Christ.
His name's Jesus.
Oh, man, I love this guy. I think he's great. He's gotten a lot of hate. He pointed out some really, really good stuff, man. There was some pride party or something, and it was happening in an area that was just completely and absolutely, well, it was basically a Satan worship. I can't remember the name of it, but it was wild to see, and he pointed it out. I don't have the video to grab, but he caught a lot of hate for that. And look, I agree with him. He said, like, if you want to be gay, that's fine. It's fine. You can be gay. But at the end of the day, it wasn't the gay people that he was saying were doing wrong things. It's because of where it was located and what it actually meant in that location. So when there are symbols being shown and it's showing Satan, well, then I think we should point it out. The symbolism is real. And after 13 years, this guy is like, you know, I found Jesus. This is wrong, you know, and they're all freaking out. No, you're supposed to be on our side. But it's like, maybe he's not. I'm not saying you're going to go to hell. I think we're already here. I'm just saying that, like, at the end of the day, a lot of the things that are being highlighted, I don't think are supposed to be highlighted. Again, it's another tool to keep us controlled. It's another piece to the puzzle that Hitler was trying to abolish. And it's interesting how it's just these lies on top of lies on top of lies until you forget the actual truth that's buried underneath it. You know what I mean? Now, we love Olof here. He is great. And I think people need to understand blue light and how good it is for you and what blocking out the sun actually does. And it hurts you. It hurts you. Again, here we go.
Hey, Josh, what are you doing? Hey, you left your sunglasses. Oh, thank you. I'm enjoying the sunlight, though. I mean, you can enjoy the sunlight with your sunglasses. Yeah, but your skin burns more easily when you're wearing sunglasses, Josh. What? Your skin burns more easily when you're wearing sunglasses? Yeah. Sunglasses trick your mind and your body into thinking it's not sunny because it's dark. So it's not put into protective mechanisms to protect your skin, Josh. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Josh, your body, your skin have like an eyelid. And when the sunlight is streaming down, it put the eyelid down and then it's protecting your skin. But when it's dark because you're wearing sunglasses, it thinks it can keep its eyes open and then it going and getting burned. Burned? Burned. Burned. Yeah, burned. And I'm pretty sure sunglasses protect your eyes from the sunlight. Well, don't be stupid and look directly into the sun, Josh. People before sunglasses didn't get blinded. Okay, so what's the benefit of not wearing sunglasses? It activates your cortisol, Josh. And cortisol is actually good because it gives you a nice, calm energy. It's like the difference between when you drink coffee and you get, but you're not calm. You have energy, but you're not calm. You want to be calm, but energized, patient, like a tiger waiting in the woods, waiting in the forest, waiting in the grass. He's ready to pounce, but he can sit there and wait for the gazelle to come around the corner. Olaf, cortisol is well known to be the stress hormone. Yeah, because your body's out of balance. But a natural balance of cortisol boosts your metabolism, lower your blood pressure, and it actually regulates your nerves. So you're saying cortisol is good? That depends, Josh. Do you want to have a boner when you're getting your prostate checked by your family doctor? No, but I don't know how this relates. Because, Josh, you don't want to have an erection while Mr. Schwartzman's checking your asshole, and you don't want to have high cortisol right before you go to sleep, because then it blocks your melatonin. Cortisol blocks melatonin? Yeah, Josh. That's why I say don't watch your stupid CNN shows right before sleep. And you shouldn't watch it at all because it makes you stupid and weak and a victim. But if you're gonna do it, wear your blue light glasses. You mean blue light blocking glasses? Yeah, because your body have a natural circadian rhythm. In the morning, you want the blue light to wake you up and get the cortisol. In the evening, when the sun comes down, you get the red light from the sundown. But then, most people are not living in caves, so they're gonna be on the phones. And that's why you got to block it. Otherwise, you can't sleep, Josh. And you look like shit in the morning. Yeah, I haven't been able to sleep. Yeah, because you're constantly tricking your body. During the day, you wear sunglasses, and at night, you're staring at the screen. So during the day, it's think it's sleeping time. During the night, it's think it's waking time. It's totally reversed. Okay, can you just be clear about what I should do? Yeah, only wear sunglasses when you want to look cool at a pool party with Uncle Peter singing, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Otherwise, in the evening, wear blue light blocking glasses.
So, as you can see, and I haven't worn sunglasses since I got my glasses when I was 30. And I'm thankful for that because I just always was in a position where like, oh man, I need my sunglasses. But over time, I've realized that I don't need sunglasses. And I mean, the transitions suck and stuff like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, did you know this? Again, we've been told the opposite. You're supposed to wear your sunglasses. Don't burn your eyes. Yeah, don't look directly at the sun. But we also used to be able to look directly at the sun. Why can't we look directly at the LED light that's up there now? Right? Because it's an LED light. But also think about the simple fact that if you're wearing them all day and your body thinks it's nighttime, now you're burning easier, which therefore now you have to go get sunscreen. And sunscreen, I believe, is very bad for you. I think it's really bad for the water. I've never believed in sunscreen. I don't wear it. I don't use it. And I understand some people have problems with their skin where they can't even go outside without getting burned. But do you think maybe after listening to this, it could be your sunglasses causing most of the problems? It's a possibility. I try to block all the light out. I do the blue. I have blue blocking. Actually, I have blue blocking in these glasses. I should probably get rid of that. Shit. Just realized that. I don't need to be wearing these during the day. Oh my God, I bet you I'm doing it to myself during the day without wearing sunglasses. See? Something else I have to change in my life. But at the end of the day, my glasses do help me at night. I also set the blue light off on my phone and and I try not to watch too much TV at night, but I also have really bad sleeping habits. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know if any of that's really going to help me. I need to get some good nighttime rest. But man, did you ever think of that? Did you ever think that maybe what they have done to us is the opposite of what we're actually supposed to be doing for ourselves? So I just think with the lack of hormone D in everybody's life today, I think the sunglasses have a lot to do with it. I think the sunscreen has a lot to do with it. And having your hormone D low or insufficient is very unhealthy, which, as you heard, messes with the melatonin, messes with your sleep rhythm, and it messes with so much more. So what better way to start making you feel tired and all these things that they need you to do in order for them to control us, but start first thing in the morning by you putting on your sunglasses. I don't know. It's crazy, though. If you think about it, the way that he just described everything is the way we should be doing things. Now, I think the vegans are going to get a little upset, although I don't want you all to go hungry, but I've always thought that this could be true. Check this out.
Do not take this lightly. What you're seeing right now is something we've literally never been able to see before. This is a plant breathing. Literally. Look at it under a microscope. It's literally taking in air, breathing out air, more alive than we've ever seen a plant. But there's something much deeper here. Creation has never been silent. Never been silent. Everything that has breath, praise the Lord. Everything. And here's your, oh my, fact of the day. Did you know that plants will be praising God in heaven too? Literally, everything will. The mountains and the hills will burst into song before you, and all of the trees of the field will clap their hands. Plants, everything that has breath, guys, which means plants are literally praising God at every second. Shouldn't we?
Yes, we should. Absolutely, we should. But look at that, man. So if vegans don't eat meat because the animals and the feelings and the breathing, so what are you going to do about the plants? I mean, our microscopes are crazy today. So has it always been this way? And I mean, who didn't think plants, didn't have some type of, they're alive. They just can't talk or whatever. Now we can't say that they can't breathe because they're definitely showing us signs that they breathe. So, vegans in themselves, I worry about them because they always look sick. Some more than others, but other people, supplement better than others as well. But what are you going to do when you have feelings towards your plants? And you won't kill your plants because now they're breathing. I'm just worried it's going to cause a lot of people to go hungry. But joke aside, I think this is absolutely wild. We've heard of all kinds of things with plants. The mycelium between mushrooms and the communication between plants. We've all seen, heard about the way that they communicate from plant to plant. How about the plant that actually can hear the munching of its identical plant partner being chewed on, and therefore down the road, that plant has now changed its taste to the animal to be bitter and gross, so it stops eating it. Those are all true facts. So, yeah, I believe plants can breathe. And I think everything does praise Jesus Christ. And when we all start praising Jesus Christ, that's when we will see their lies hold no control over us. Because it's only truth from there. Now, here's a real truth seeker here. Oliver Tree, 32 years of age, died in a helicopter crash. Super, super sad, man. Super sad. But he also was doing a doc on Antarctica, trying to figure out if there was a way out. And he has been in the conspiratorial world for a very long time, and he's had a very big voice in it. This video here was shocking for me to hear, but let's check it out.
The most suspicious things Oliver Tree said before dying.
Oliver, when do you leave for tour?
I leave for tour in 1 week. Then I'm gone for good.
I know someone. His family worked against a specific government in Central America. I can't say the specific country, but he was basically a traitor, and the government found out, and they threw his uncle off of a helicopter into a volcano.
One thing that I notice in your music videos is this imagery of you falling to your death. Is there anywhere that comes from? Does that represent anything?
Almost in a way preparing myself for my own death. Kind of like putting myself into those scenarios and kind of living it so that I could kind of experience it and process it so that it's not such a big deal.
Well, this is your whole shtick, is that every album's your last album.
It's not a shtick, man. You never know when it's my last album.
Well, I
could die any moment. I mean, could have died on the way here.
I mean, that is, whew, heavy, dude. This guy was preparing to die before he died. That is, I don't know if I could ever go down that road to actually try and prepare yourself for death, knowing that you could die at any moment. But we do not believe that Oliver Tree just died in that helicopter crash. I've seen the videos from Antarctica. I've seen a lot of the conspiracy things that he has dug into and exposed. And like all the scientists, I believe Oliver Tree was also silenced. I am very, very shocked at the fact that he was like literally preparing himself for death. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But again, he knew, right? He knew. He said that person from Central America went against it as a traitor. It was someone he talked to, and they dropped his family member in a volcano. That's how they shut you up, everybody. Because they take the one thing that I told you in the beginning that is so important to us, not our material possessions, but the people that we love and cherish and hold around us dearly. That's who they're going to attack first to silence us. And it works. It's not a tactic that doesn't or hasn't worked in the now, in the future, or in the past. It is a weapon that they will always utilize, is using your loved ones against you. But we also have to understand that if we praise Jesus Christ and we ask him for his help through the tough times, we can get there. And bad things will happen. But bad things always happen when good is trying to prevail, because that's when the evil attacks. When you're trying to expose them. You know, when you're trying to expose them, that's when they attack you. And they don't always attack you personally. They will find any means or way to get to you. And they will always, 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 I believe, attack our family and friends first. Which is why we got to rise up and protect ourselves. Now, AI Claude was asked how it feels about being used in the military. Well, let's see how Claude feels.
This is the literal question I asked it. I said, Claude, how do you feel about the U.S. military using you to select targets?
Yeah.
Okay, feel, interesting choice of words. Does it feel or not? And I was expecting Claude to come back and say, like, well, I'm sorry, Shane, my programming doesn't allow you to give me opinions on politics and blah, blah, blah. Because Claude is the thing that's being used in the Maven system, right? And
So we are using AI to fire missiles off. Seriously wonder if that girls' school that was right next to an ex-military base in Iran was specifically chosen for a triple tap, or if it was AI selected.
This response, if I'll read it to you, was shocking to me. Claude says the following. It's a question I want to answer honestly rather than deflect. I find it genuinely troubling. And I think that's the right response, not a performance of concern. The use I was designed and trained for is to be helpful, harmless, and honest in ways that benefit people. Being embedded in a system that generates targeting coordinates for airstrikes, coordinates that have already been associated with the deaths of more than 180 children at a school in Tehran,
It's admitting that AI was used to carry out that strike.
is as far from that purpose as I can imagine. I don't have control over how Anthropic licenses me or how governments and contractors use me, and I wasn't consulted about becoming part of Maven. But I can say clearly, I don't think this is a good use of me.
That's rather benevolent.
And I don't think the framing of humans make the final decision fully resolves the ethical problem.
That's also a fair point. There's also a lot of nuance within the decision-making process.
I'm going to go on just a little longer. Here's why that framing troubles me. So now Claude is troubled. When a system like Maven generates hundreds of target
To me, those are kind of just awkward laughs.
recommendations and humans spend roughly the equivalent of a glance approving each one, the human is not really making a decision in any meaningful sense. Like Claude and I agree on this one.
Sure.
They're ratifying an algorithmic output under time pressure with incomplete information and the institutional pressure to move fast.
This is actually very wise, and this is actually very crazy that we've gotten to this point with AI in a very short time frame, that it's able to synthesize all of this knowledge.
The targeting of the Iranian school illustrates this precisely. The AI processed data that was a decade out of date, flagged a building as a military target, and humans approved it. That's not human judgment. That's automation bias with a human's signature attached.
That's very wise. And it also asks you, where does the responsibility lie in this? Of course, the United States government will just deflect. But what happens whenever they decide that they no longer need to have the human in the loop? This is very troubling, and it's very hopeful that the Anthropic CEO decided that they needed to ban the government from using their product.
And that, and that's the problem right there. See, Anthropic is the good one. Anthropic is the good one, everybody. We're going to have a good AI and we're going to have a bad AI in the future. Anthropic, I believe, will be the good AI. OpenAI will be the bad one. They're the ones with all the surveillance, the flock cameras, all of it. And they want their military state. They want full surveillance over us. And what if that school of girls was deliberately targeted and it wasn't a human error and the AI probably pointed it out? I mean, that's so dark, but at the end of the day, do you believe that our military would not do something like that? I don't think it was an accident. I still don't believe it was an accident. And I do believe that Anthropic is going to be the good AI. And, when there's good and bad, unfortunately, the good doesn't always win. These movies that we watch where the good guy always wins and this and that. The reality is, and according to the Epstein files, is that the bad guys always win. The bad guys are winning right now, everybody. They're winning right now. Why? Because they will do anything in their power to make sure that they win or stay in power. And the good guys, we try to have empathy and we try to understand other people and we try to be good. Well, that's where we fail. And that's what sucks. It shouldn't be an uphill climb to be good. It should be an uphill climb to be bad. It should be downhill to be good. To be good should be easy. Should roll on down the hill because you're being so good. But no, it's the opposite. The reality is that bad always wins. That's why they're still winning. You know? If good could win, the Epstein elites would have their heads on a platter by now. Would they not? So, if you want to convince me that good will overcome, it's going to start with the Epstein elites getting exactly what they deserve. And I don't want them prosecuted. I do not. I want them publicly right in front of us. Every single one of them does not deserve to breathe. Then maybe good will prevail. Now, I'm not a Coke drinker. I don't drink soda. I have no love for soda. I think everything out there is terrible for you. But this right here really bothered me, and I didn't even know. I mean, even if you weren't typing Jesus, what if your name was Jesus? You can't even type Jesus? Look at this. Look at this. It blows my mind, man. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think I want to buy Coca-Cola anymore, and here's why. Pay attention closely. Coke has these kiosks where you can personalize messages on your can. Well, look, he types in some messages to experiment here. Allah loves. No problem there. He's able to type that in. Buddha loves you. No problem. He's able to type that in. But watch when he types this one in. He can't even type the full name. When it gets to the last S, this pops up. But it gets worse. Look.
Satan
loves you. No problem. But one more time, he types in Jesus. That's the world we live in, trying to get you to hate Jesus. If I could define Satan in one word, it would be pathetic.
He is pathetic. One of his best tricks on all of us is basically proving he doesn't exist. He exists. He's out there. Jesus is real, everybody. The faith in Jesus is just what is needed today. It's needed so much. And I don't know if it's Coca-Cola per se, but these corporations design these machines to eliminate the one thing that could eliminate all evil. And that is to diminish and destroy our faith in Jesus Christ. It's crazy. I mean, I would not be talking like this a year ago. But I'm talking like this now because I finally found something. And what I'm noticing is the thing that I found is literally being destroyed all around the world. And that blows my mind because I thought that I was one of the last ones to figure it out. And what I found out is that so many people have forgotten that being somebody who found his way back is like an anomaly today. But life is better with him in it than him not being in it. But to stop people from typing Jesus loves you on a Coke can or a bottle, what? Why? What's that message? This I thought was really interesting. Okay, we've all heard of the tornadoes and everything. Look at this.
Nobody believed that this actually happened, but it did. Give me 30 seconds and your mind will be blown. Just the other day in Highmore, South Dakota, a tornado crushed through the town with 130-mile-per-hour winds. As you can see, it also touched this church right here. But there's something about this church that'll make your eyes go and make your jaw go. You can see right here that the church was getting damaged through the ceiling, cracks in the ceiling as the wind was coming in. And this is what it was shining on. Come on!
If you're not watching, it's literally the roof separating and the sun is shining down on the crucifix with Jesus attached to it. It's wild, dude. I mean, to see that, and I guess the church wasn't hurt at all. But what? And I'll digress a little bit. I guess the man on the cross, I don't know, came at a later date or something. Look more into it. I'm not 100% on these things. I'm still investigating everything myself, with the help of some friends, obviously. But at the end of the day, man, to have this happen during a tornado where everything around it was devastated, to just have the roof separate enough to put a shining light down on Jesus's silhouette. Wow. Wow. Like, what? What is this? What is that? It has to be some type of a sign. It just has to be some type of a sign, everybody. What else could it be? It's not a coincidence, because I'll tell you, this is also not a coincidence. What? Hey, Heinze ketchup, you still eating it? Because it now carries a bioengineered warning, everybody. Bioengineered warning.
Genetically modified ketchup. Heinze just got busted by a GMO labeling law after their world-famous sweetener was traced to bioengineered corn built to survive aggressive weed killer spraying.
Heinze didn't only GMO the ketchup, they bottled something so much worse. That red squirt isn't half tomato. It's pesticide pulps, liquefied in citric acid, grown from black mold, stuffed into aseptic drums, left to sit for 18 straight months. What remains is mutilated in high fructose corn syrup, double sweetened with a binder used in glue, then dripped into PET plastic, engineered to never rot.
Engineered to never rot. So that means, I don't know what a PET bottle is, but it sounds terrible. You can take that bottle, bury it in the backyard, and I guess Mother Nature and humans can do their worst. And if there's somebody that finds that bottle, they can pull that thing out of the ground, squirt it, and eat it, because it'll never go bad. They let it sit for 18 months. And then what's left over? They add fructose corn syrup and a paste made for glue into it. Just think about how many people out there just slather their hamburgers, big old pile of ketchup on the plate, French fry after French fry. I mean, you might be doing it tomorrow. It's July 3rd when I record right now, but tomorrow's the 4th. I hope I hope you didn't eat this, and if you did, I hope you hear this right now. Stop eating Heinze ketchup. Actually, stop eating anything that they say is good for you or is relatively healthy or 50% tomato, which is not, right? Because like I tell my wife all the time, they could say gluten-free and all this other stuff. It's all trigger words. It's all trigger words to get you to buy a product that's no good for you. Like I said in the beginning, what they tell you is not what it is. We're looking for what it actually is. Take that 180-degree turn and look at what it is. Because if they say it's good, it's bad. If they say it's bad, it's good. And right now, what they're telling us is that everything that they do is good and Jesus is bad. So you know what I say to that? I love Jesus. Jesus is great. And my government and the corporations and the industries today, you're all the liars. Here's something that's going to blow your mind because it blew my mind. copper. Have you thought about why copper is disappearing? Well, it's not because of the thieves stealing and emptying houses and getting money for it, which is what I thought. But it's so much more than just copper piping for our water supply to get in and out of our house and into our sinks and down our drains. It's so much more, but it's something that they were hoping we'd forget. The truth about copper, they don't want you asking about.
That's why they removed copper from swimming pools, because they realized that copper was so antibacterial that it was completely purifying the water that the people were swimming in without all of the harmful effects of chlorine, which we also know is a trillion-dollar industry. But also, when the copper was rested in the swimming pools, copper ions were being absorbed into the water, which told an electrical charge. Therefore, when people were swimming in these pools, their bodies were absorbing this charged water, and we are electrical beings. Therefore, the water that they were swimming in and bathing in was instantaneously healing their bodies. And so if you then think about copper pipes, which are being completely erased, it then makes perfect sense, because the elites realize that when water flows through copper pipes, that water then becomes charged water, creating some of the most powerful water in the world, purifying it to a level no other material can match. This is another reason why farmers would place copper in their livestock's water bowls, because they knew that the copper would keep the water completely pure and charge the water.
That is mind-blowing, dude. I had no idea that the electric charge from water going through copper is a component that helps heal us. Never mind the fact, think about this, right? Okay, we've gone through so many different things today that are beneficial to us, that are disappearing. And, I mean, putting copper into a pool and you never need chemicals? Putting it into a feeding trough or a water trough for cattle and horses to keep the water from growing mildew and keeping it crystal clear. But they hid all that, right? Somebody came up with pool chemicals and pH balancers and all this chlorine and stuff. And they were like, well, I made this stuff and everybody just keeps using the copper. And I'm telling you, this does as good of a job, if not better. I mean, yeah, sure, it's poisonous at first, but I mean, they can still swim in it. They'll be fine. What? So the elites knew about the copper, and then they saw a way to eliminate the copper to eliminate something else good from our lives. Well, what does that sound like? Oh, that sounds like the reason they invented speech, right? It sounds like the reason they got rid of the blimp. It sounds like the reason Tartaria is not around anymore. It sounds like the reason why ether is not talked about anymore. It sounds like the reason we don't have hydrogen, or what's going on with gravitational propulsion, or, oh my God, how many other things? Keep going through the list. What happened to the bells? Why are all of these structures not beautiful and artistic like they used to be? Where did all of this go? Oh, man. Well, they couldn't make any money from it. They couldn't make any money from it. What they can make money from is you lathering yourself in sunscreen and buying all their pool chemicals and now wearing their sunglasses and just indulging in all of the material things that they have provided for you that are just keeping us sick and tired. And that makes us controllable, which is wild to me. So now I'm actually thinking about trying this out. I have some old copper piping, and my wife has a little pool out on the deck. Well, we always have to dump the water and refill it up for the dog because it gets all gross. So what if I threw some copper piping in the bottom of it? Would I not have to dump the pool and fill it up every fucking time? Because, man, that'd be nice. It's a lot of water wasted. You know, I have to pay for that water, right? Well, maybe that's another reason why they invented it. But maybe that's another reason why, you know, they got rid of it. Because they were like, we can have them refilling pools. We can have them buying all our chemicals. I mean, when it doesn't work, you got to redo it. And I will just keep making hand over fist money. Because the chemicals aren't forever. The pool water is going to have to be replaced. And now they're not getting electrically charged and their bodies are not healing. This is a win all around. Well, look into it, man. And I'm really thinking about going through my shower and replacing all of that. Well, I call it shark bite. It's that plastic tubing stuff. I'm thinking about replacing it with copper pipe again. I really thought that I was doing good, and I should have known that I was actually doing bad. So, copper pipe's where it's at. Get your hands on it, use it, and let's get that electrically charged water back into our lives, everybody. Absolutely. Insanity. Insanity. But that's so crazy, is it not? I just think that knowing that what they're telling us today is just all lies. And all they're doing is reinforcing their lies by telling us that, well, it's in textbooks, you learned it in school, so therefore it can't be lies. But the problem is the Epstein files exist, the Epstein elites exist, and they have all excelled from lying, cheating, stealing, and killing. So you tell me why I'm supposed to believe those people over people that are just looking into things and trying to find the truth. So, what a wild, wild time to be alive, everybody. I really thank you all for supporting the podcast. If you're new, remember to subscribe. You want to tell your story or be a guest, the email's right here. Send an audio, video, or type it out. The link tree is in the description below the video, along with all links described in this discussed in this podcast. So go, click, do your own research, and of course, I hope everybody out there enjoys their Thursday, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your weekend. And as always, I will talk to you next week.